Hey guys, Andy here, and I'm here to bring you all things mundane and makeup related. If that's your vibe, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to be part of my little slice of the internet. And in today's video, I'm bringing you my June palette roundup. So if you want to hear about all of the palettes that I used this month and my thoughts and feelings on all of them, then let's go ahead and get into it. So, my ranking I do based off Jen Beauty's roundup. I will leave her listed down below, but there are 4 categories. Basically trash, which is, you know, things I've decluttered, things that I don't feel like I need to keep, so probably something I would put on my chopping block if I haven't decluttered it. We have meh don't like, which is things that I don't think that I enjoy for one reason or another. Those are probably also on my chopping block. Things that I definitely need to use again before I decide whether or not I'm decluttering them. We have It's Nice But, which is basically, I really do like these palettes, but for one reason or another, they're not Holy Grail status. And then, of course, we have Holy Grail, which, the tip of the top gorgeousness. So this month we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 palettes, which isn't the best, but it's not the worst. You know, I'll take 16 palettes. We have already gotten to the July kitty cat, which you guys can't really see. He's kind of laying down. We got some things. We have a coffee. Oh, we have my kitty cat. Hey, come here. Nope, come here. No, you don't get to run away. Oh, we got my kitty cat. Say hello for the first video of July. It's Ian's birthday today. Oh, there's no need for yelling. So in the comments today, wish Ian a happy birthday. He's 31 today. So wish him a happy birthday, and I will tell him, each and every one of you who tell him happy birthday. But we have Scooter's Coffee as per usual. I'm trying one of their other new flavors. It's Nutter Butter. Delicious. I like this one better than the Chips Ahoy caramel one that I had the other day. But still not as good as the white chocolate mocha one. Is it white chocolate mocha or just white mocha? I don't know. That one's still top tier. But this is really good for like a flavored. And I've tried just their regular like peanut butter one that they have. This is tenfold better than just their regular peanut butter. So, for basically trash, I have one palette this month. That is it. I have one palette that I'm decluttering. This has actually already been listed on my Mercari. It hasn't sold yet, but this and its palette twin have already been listed. But this is the Tarte Bejeweled palette. I did a Throwback Thursday on this. This is what this guy looks like. I used every shade in the palette but this blue one, which I was actually really happy that I didn't, because as pretty as the blue looks, it's actually a sequin satiny shade. The rest of the 3 shimmers are beautiful, gorgeous shimmers. I actually really liked them. The mattes are all so much darker on the eye than they appear on the pan. Like, even these light shades are extremely dark, and so, no. Like, I just don't need a palette that's this dark and smoky when it's an 8-pan palette, you know? Like, I don't mind having dark and smoky shades, but I also don't think, like, this shimmer goes. I don't think this shade goes, especially the fact that this isn't a shimmer like these 3 are. This didn't hit the mark for me. I think the other palette, I think it's Gilded. I think that color story's better, but because I didn't love this one, I was like, I'm just gonna get rid of both of them. So these are up on my Mercari. I have a bunch of palettes listed if you're curious. I think my Mercari is listed in my description box. If not, I'll make sure to list it in this video, but this is my one and only basically trash decluttered palette. For meh don't like, we have 3 palettes, and I will explain, because I do overall like these palettes, but, you know, gotta place things somewhere. And these are in no particular order. So we're gonna start with the big one. This is the Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette. This is in Meh Don't Like, because so far I've only used these 2 shades. I used it for the Bingo of Shame for June, and so I mixed those 2 shades together to dupe a shade from the Planet Spirit palette, and it worked. But this is an old palette. I've had this palette for 2 years, and I bought it off Mercari. So the formula, it's powdery, it's kind of dusty. The shades are pigmented, but like I said, I've used 2 shades out of the palette and I just didn't love it. So, you know, I'm still gonna do a whole look with just this palette. So maybe in July, I don't know if it's gonna be a July or August when I'm gonna use this specifically, but we'll see if my opinion changes once I just use this palette. But right now I'm just like, this might be a declutter. It might. So we'll see. Then we have, which one do I want to talk about first? Because I'm looking at 2 Natasha Denona palettes, which I know is wild. Let's talk about the one I like more, which is, I know, very fingerprinty and reflective. This is the Love Face palette. So, first, there was a blush here. And I said in my pile of shame video that I thought the blush was bad. Mine was very, like, chunky. Do I have it in this pile of garbage, or did it already get thrown out? No. It already got to the garbage, but, it was just chunky. It was chunky from the very beginning. I got this in a giveaway, so I don't know how old this palette was. But I loved the highlighter. I loved the shade of the blush, but the formula just wasn't it. And when I pulled the blush out of this, it smelled like crayons. So the blush was absolutely just bad. But the highlight's fine. I can still use the highlighter. I'm really sad about the blush because, like I said, I loved the color. But when talking about the eyeshadows, I just don't think this shade goes with it. I like the formula. The formula of all of these are phenomenal. These are beautiful. But the way I feel about this palette as a whole is I just feel like I could put these 5 shades into other Natasha Denona palettes and just declutter this. Because I don't love this highlighter to the point where I feel I need to keep this. And this has actually made me rethink wanting to get the other face and eye palettes. Which I'm happy about that. That is a good thing, because I don't need them. So, and another thing that I have come to see. So, this is the shade Dream Glow. I don't think it's the same shade, but this is also the shade Dream Glow. Because I swatched them. This is the Berry Pop Cheek palette. And when I swatch them, they're the same shade. So yeah, I definitely don't need a duplicate highlighter. And you can't take these out. That makes me so angry about the Berry Pop Cheek Trio, because I would just, since I'm already so far through this one, I would just put that one in its place and then put these 5 shadows in my palettes and call it a day. But honestly, I think that's what I might end up doing, is I might just put these 5 shades variously through my palettes and just declutter this highlighter, because I do not need a duplicate cream highlighter. Definitely don't. So, there's that. For my last in the Meh Don't Like category, we have the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. Now, it's specifically for the mattes. I love the shimmers. The shimmers in this palette are beautiful and wonderful, but the mattes are just, like, this is a very softly pigmented palette. The brighter shades take a lot of building to get the bright pigment that you want. The darker deep shades take an ungodly amount of building to get an even mid-tone deep color. The only shades that I think perform well right off the bat are the like 3 mid-tone shades. So I really only like this palette for like the shimmers and 2 or 3 mattes. And that is so frustrating because the color story itself I love. So this is another one that I could see just like rearranging. My retro palette, my retro glam, is in my chopping block. But it's something I want to try ASAP because it's something I could see, because it's greens, and granted, these are not the same greens, but I could see mixing these two palettes together into a more cohesive palette, personally. So that might be something I do after I try that palette. So those are my meh don't like. Let me grab out my it's nice but category, because there's quite a few. And Ian called, so sorry. Because of course he has to work on his birthday, unfortunately. But we have quite a few palettes here. Again, I'm not going to go in any particular order, but we have the Morphe Rose to Fame. I tried this month, and I used the whole palette, and it was glorious. The mattes were super surprising because I've never enjoyed a Morphe palette. The regular shimmers were beautiful. I will say this liquid metal shade was a little disappointing. I prefer it dry than using it wet, but it is still really beautiful, and it makes me want to get some of the new ones that they just came out with. But this is absolutely stunning, and I really like the color story. It was soft, and it was pretty, and I really enjoyed it. But it can't be holy grail, I don't feel, just because, like, there's nothing crazy. Like, I wanted this to be something more, and it just wasn't. So, like, it's good. It's solid, it's good, I liked it. Then we have my Alter Ego Goddess palette, which you guys will be seeing my Throwback Thursday this Thursday. So, spoiler alert, this was beautiful. It was stunning. It was my first time using an Alter Ego palette. This is a dupe of the Natasha Denona Gold palette, which I don't own. I don't have the big one, I don't have the mini, and this is just a really pretty color story. The formula on this was great. It makes me want to try more from Alter Ego, but I believe I currently have like all the actual Natasha Denona palettes that they've done, that they've duped. So, but this formula is beautiful, and I really love this. It's a really heavy palette. Stay tuned to Thursday for my full review of the palette, but it was stunning. We have my Nomad Haunted Europe palette. It was my first time using this guy, and loved it. And that's why it's in It's Nice But, because it was my first use. I feel like the more I use this, the more it would be in like a holy grail status, because this was absolutely stunning. I did more of like a green blue look, and it was beautiful. I love the embossings on this. I got a nice dip on Highgate Cemetery just from that one look. But I really, really like this palette. It was, oh, so good. This is a palette I got in PR this month. It's from Charm Very. It's their Savage Growth palette, excuse me. I do that every time. I used every shade in this palette except this black to red duochrome, and then this multi-chrome called Hollow Graphite. It's a hollow chrome, excuse me. But this was lovely. It's a pressed pigment palette, and boy, those mattes, they are pew, 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 crazy. This was lovely and wonderful and gorgeous, and I need to use it again to use those other two shades. But the formula on this was fantastic. So, love, love, love. but I just don't personally feel I can give something a holy grail status if I've used it one time. I don't think that that's fair to any palette, ever. We have my Natasha Denona My Dream palette. Mine has been rearranged a little bit, so this is what mine looks like, but I did a collab with Kay this month, and at Makeup Lens, I will try to remember to leave her linked down below, my lovely friend, but this is beautiful. It was my first time using this palette. I know Kay really loves hers, and I really loved this as well. I think, did I have any complaints off the top of my head? I didn't love this aspiration shade, because if I'm going to go into a shade this dark, I'm just going to go into the black, so I feel like I would pull that shade out. But this duochrome, for it being Natasha Denona, was actually really, really nice. I really enjoyed it. So, there is that. What else we got? What else we got? The palette, one of the palettes I'm still working on. This is my Pretty Evil Cosmetics Welcome to Horrorwood palette, which looks like this. I think I still have 4 or 5 uses to get on this palette, but I have used the whole palette, and it's nice. I talked about it last month. I still have the same complaints. The red and the orange are too similar. I don't think we needed all 3 browns, even though they are different on the eyes. They really are, but I don't think we needed all 3. Don't think the purple belongs. I've used the purple twice now, because I paired it with another palette I'm working on, but I don't think it belongs in the palette. And yeah. My favorite look is the black-gray scale with the silver. That's my favorite look to do with this palette. So, but it's a good formula. It's a really nice palette. I do enjoy it. It's just, for what it is, I don't think this will ever be a holy grail palette. So, but I used that palette twice this month, because any palettes I used more than once, I try to let you guys know that. So that palette I used twice. What else? What else? We have the Glamlight and Barbie Dream Summer palette. I also used this in my Bingo of Shame. I used a bunch of shades over here to dupe the Planet Spirit palette, and this was beautiful. I am going to use this again. I want to try to use this one in July. This is giving July palette for sure. But I want to do a look with just this palette for my summer palettes. But yeah, I really like this. The shimmers in this are beautiful. I don't love these like yellowy browns, but otherwise, I think the palette itself is gorgeous. I really like this Glamlight formula. I love the squishy shimmers. I feel like it's either you like that kind of shimmer formula or you don't, and I do, so I think it's really nice. But, yeah. We have the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. So, I used this as a whole face palette. So I used the pinks as blush. I used this shade as bronzer. I used this in my brows. I used a culmination of these 2 shades as highlighter. I used this shade as face powder. And then I used a bunch of the shades on my, I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I used a bunch of them on my eyes as well in a look. So I really enjoyed it. This shimmer formula, because I know this is a different shimmer formula than like he's done in any other palette, it's like a scattered glitter, and I like it. So I think it's pretty. I like the blues, the pinks, and the poppy yellow. I think it's a really, really pretty color story. I think it's a really gorgeous palette. Again, I've used it once, so it can't be a holy grail, but I do really like this. I think it's a very summery palette. It's pretty. And last but not least for It's Nice But is the palette that's on my eyes today, and that is my High Tide palette from Colourpop. I've used this twice this month. The first time I used it, I only used 1 shade, so had to use it again. And it is the Soul palette in today's look. I did use 1 single shadow, but my only complaint with this palette is this deep dark shade is a little patchy, and this shimmer performs more like a satin. But overall, this color story is perfection, Everything else performs gorgeous and beautifully, and I still absolutely love this. I can't believe they discontinued this, so. Let me grab, I have 3 palettes that made it to Holy Grail status, so let me grab those so we can very quickly talk about them. Alright, my first palette is my Pan the Alphabet palette that I'm working on. It's the Wicked Widow Lovesick palette. So, I think this month I only worked on my Come Back Home shade. I don't think I used anything else in the palette, even though I've already used everything. I used this palette 4 times this month. We're getting a pretty good dip. I'm thinking July we might hit Pan. I'm thinking. But I love this. Gorgeous formula, gorgeous palette, stunningly beautiful. I want Graveyard Smash so bad. I really, really do. So, love. We have the Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams, which this was on my chopping block, so I will talk more about it when I do a chopping block update video, but stunning. I used the pinks as blushes. They were beautiful. I did 2 looks where I featured a Colourpop palette, and then I did 1 look with just this palette, and 87 out of 10, this palette is absolutely stunning. Obviously, this is the older formula. I can't vouch for the newer Give Me Glow formula, but this is beautiful. And last but not least, the most shocking revelation of the month. We have from Charlotte Tilbury. And this is also a little bit of a spoiler for an upcoming project, but I did no pan left behind my quad. This is the Queen of Luck quad. This is beautiful. When I do my update for the project it's in, I can't even remember what project this is in for off the top of my head at the moment, but I will show you guys pictures. We'll talk more about it there, but I do not like quads. I decluttered, I think this is the only quad I have left. Because I don't even really like 6-pan palettes. I don't really like anything smaller than a 9-pan. This was so beautiful, I have to keep this. It is absolutely stunning. It is so just luxurious on the eyes. It was so pretty. It was so smooth. It was just, I literally wrote in my notes here, chef's kiss. And that does perfectly describe it. So those are all the palettes that I used for the month of June. Let me know, any of these your favorites, any of these not your favorites. Let me know what you think I should do with this Natasha Denona highlighter, because, yeah. But I do think I'm going to move those eyeshadows into another palette. I'm just going to set that aside. That is another afternoon decision and item. But that is going to do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.